shared by Blazers GM, Joe Coleman.
Dame badly wants to win. And he's probably being more vocal about that than ever, but I don't look at that as a negative. He's bought in, he wants it to work here, and he's challenging us to get it done, which I think is more than fair, and he's earned that.
The small business funding experts. Swish Funding's simple application process takes just minutes, with affordable funding as soon as one business day. At Swish Funding, we focus on your business cash flow, not your personal credit score. And we're ready to help with funding from $5,000 to $5 million. If you've been in business for 1 year and have monthly revenue of at least $10,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Swish Funding's providing funds for expansion, inventory, payroll, overhead, and slow cash flow to help small businesses all over America. Healthcare providers, medical professionals, retail businesses, service industries, restaurants, auto body shops, and more are getting the funds they need fast. At Swish Funding, applying takes just minutes, with funds in your bank account within 24 hours. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's SWISH funding.com.
And reshape our culture. We gon' be alright. Massive hits from Jay-Z, Notorious B.I.G., Eminem, Drake, and hundreds more.
Mississippi putting it down.
Hear them all on Sirius XM's Top 500 hip-hop tracks of all time throughout Black Music Month in the SXM app. And now, for a limited time, on Channel 105.
With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritize customer care. Plus, get access to Stitcher Premium podcasts and over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Fire up the grill and your backyard barbecue with barbecue-themed SiriusXM channels. From classic rock, today's country, classic hip-hop, and more.
Today was a good day.
Set your summer off with barbecue-themed channels. Just some of more than 200 extra channels only in the SXM app. Free with all trials and popular plans.
On Hip Hop Nation, Channel 44. Then go even deeper with exclusive channels in the SXM app. Hear who's next on Hip Hop Nation Discovery. Or hit the gym with Hip Hop Nation Workout.
Jumpin', and boys up to something.
For the latest hip hop, start with Channel 44. Then explore more in the SXM app. To hear this channel, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Love things, real relationship advice, not what you hear at your therapist's office, okay? If you're looking for some very unprofessional but very good advice on a breakup, doubling back on an ex, your bid-in situationship, your sexless marriage, Love Thing is the show for you.
Love Thing with Funky Johnson, Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio, SiriusXM Channel 96, and the SXM app, free with all of our trials and popular plans.
No other.
Hey, yo, you got the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
It's your homie Ice Cube.
Yo, this is the Queen Latifah.
It's your boy Bush Rhymes.
What up, though? It's your boy Big Snoop Dogg.
Curated by the greatest.
Real hip-hop fans that love hip-hop music, this is for you.
LL Cool J's Rock the Bells Radio. Channel 43. To hear LL Cool J's Rock the Bells Radio, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
The movement is already begun. Where are you?
You deserve the best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritize customer care. Plus, get access to Stitcher Premium podcasts and over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Just click a favorite star and listen all season long. Showtime!
MLB Network Radio is your home plate for baseball conversation and expert analysis. To listen to MLB Network Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love the universe. And that could include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my? Won't you be my? Won't you be my neighbor? Turn that music down. Did you know this kind of Neighbors Today show? It's a beautiful June the 23rd, 2023. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord spit you. And tell them Big C sent you. I'm telling you, you can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 27 podcast applications all over the universe. That's more than any other podcaster in the United States of America, also known as Dim Dare Hills, or back in the day, it was just called the Union. And they took our money and gave it to the Southern Confederates. That doesn't make any sense. Big Robert, baby crap, well, we're going after our reparations. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Spreaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Geo Savan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, WePod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Podyssey, Podcast Republic, and the only one, as far as good pod, but there's one that used to scare me. It was like War of the Worlds when they said the Anunnaki were coming in spaceships. They called them War of the Worlds. And they had these big beady eyes. You ever meet someone with big beady eyes? Run! Especially if they only have one. If they only have one, you might want to run. That makes sense. Yeah. You can follow on allfeeds.ai. That means the robots are coming to get you. Give the robots some praise. I said give them praise. We all need robots. But I'm having a special switch installed in my robot. My robot's gonna have the Teddy Pendergrass voice when he's saying, give me some praise. He said, turn off the lights, and light a candle. Dun, 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 dun. I wanna get you a special sweet. It's so sweet. He said, turn off the lights. I don't wanna have anyone turn the music off. Nothing's wrong with your instrument, it's just me singing. And come to me. And then the song, the lyrics that made the most babies in the history of the universe. Teddy said, turn off the lights. And the woman didn't turn them off. He said, turn them off. It even made me get up and turn off the lights, and he wasn't even singing to me. I love that song. So we gotta have the turn them off switch called the Teddy Pendergrass turn them off switch put on those robots, because they're gonna start making robots that can replace a man and a woman. Boy, will men be happy then. What did Mary J. Blige say? No more tears, no more fears, no more drama in my life. Well, hold on, men, because ladies gonna get their robot too. It's gonna say, yes, dear. Anything you want, dear. It's yours, dear. Give us yours a praise. It's a happy Friday. Blame it on the donuts that I just ate. My goodness. I'm telling you, I produce my show. It's fresh every day, like the fresh donut I had this morning. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. Sometimes when the sweet gets me too hyped up, I say, turn them off. But I don't want to turn off this sweet. It's too good. You know donuts that make you lick your fingers, like finger licking good? You got to get them while they're warm. I learned that this morning, but I produce the show. I always walk and talk by faith. I always honor God. I'm the only sports podcaster in the history of the universe that honors God on every show. I always produce the show. Number 2, I direct the topic. Number 3, I broadcast all the shows based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I know I can use more laughter. And then the sound effects are done. The commercials are done. The stats provided. The storytelling. And I love doing my own play-by-play. Runners on first and third. That counts for the pitch. Curveball. Swung on. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friends. I love saying the girls love the long ball and men love to hit deep. What is it about girls loving the long ball and men loving to hit deep? Michael Jackson told us. He said, tell them that it's human nature. What he said. I think that's what he said. And then the show's uploaded to 27 multiple podcast platforms out of New York City. That's more platforms than anyone in the United States. And his name is Big C. I'm going to change my name to Reparations. When I meet people pretty soon, they say, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. I say, what's your name? And the little boy say, whatever his name is, Jackie Robinson or whatever. He say, what's your name? I say, my name is Reparations. Hey, faith comes by hearing. If you tell somebody your name is Reparations, don't laugh. I know people named Rock. Like Rocky? No, Rock. Say, why do they call you Rock? Because his head is hard as rock. Anyway, that's my joke for the day. We want our money back now. You went to see a Teddy Pendergrass concert. They said Teddy will not be performing today. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we have Big C. If he can sing, turn him off and light a candle. It must be the sugar in the donuts. I feel loopy. And then I never miss this podcast since starting with the crew. Back in 2015. Oh, I love it. I want to say thank you to it. Also, Big C Sports Podcast is streaming on 4 TV applications, soon to be 5. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And another TV platform coming soon all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. I love giving out the PSA because I come from a family of military people. On my mother and my father's side, there's a Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help if you know anybody going through issues. And everybody is nowadays. Some people just don't tell you, but you can see it by the blood, by the veins in the bloodshot eyes. You say, how you doing, bro? Hey, I'm doing good, man. I say, why your eyes are bloodshot? Everybody's going through something. Everybody's going through something. And they are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. Rumor had it they were standing on their head to get you some help, if that makes sense to you. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. I know I need somebody to lean on. And when you lean hard, if that makes sense to you. I want to give a PSA, and I know I'm swimming against the current. I know I am, because you can't tell somebody to stop doing what they love doing, if that makes sense to you. Teenage boys proved that a long time ago. Long ago in a galaxy far away. Don't matter how much you tell that teenage boy, don't do it. You might go blind. It just never worked. Well, grown-ups have their problem too. It's called sports betting. And they tell you, I come with substantial risk. If someone tells you they come with substantial risk, if that's what they lead with, why would you deal with them? I know people like going to bed with people. It's good to go to bed with somebody because it's so good loving somebody when somebody loves you back. Turn them off! Okay, I'm mixing up Teddy Pendergrass. But sports betting, they tell you they come with substantial risk. And then people lay down with them anyway. Who would lay down with somebody scratching, sniffing, sneezing, burping, snotting? You know, think about it. A lot of people do. That's why they tell you they come with substantial risk. 800 Gambler. If you're the kind of person that likes seeing your checking account upside down, 800 Gambler. Because a lot of people do. I got a friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name, but he knows who he is. I'm not telling anybody who he is. He had a friend, 70-plus-year-old man. He did one of those mail-order brides. A girl's like 22 from the Philippines or something. They just speak very good English. I think it's exploitation. But hey, people do what they want to do. She wanted a man with some money, and he wanted a woman that couldn't speak English. So either way, the man, they were giving him, because he was a high roller down in Vegas, they gave him these markers because they knew he was good for it. But he had some trouble happen in his life 8 years ago. So he and his mail order bride, they had a domestic dispute. She learned how to call 911. And then they showed up, and they talked to him, ran him through the system, and realized some of those wives come with substantial risk. He had a bench warrant for $400,000. That's a lot of money. $400,000, but it was from 8 years ago. Well, they arrested him. I guess they're going to try to extradite him back to Las Vegas. He's in California, Denver Hills, California now. But 800 Gambler, had he just listened to me, he would not have been in that situation. Because I say, I buy lotto tickets if $2 is not that much to overcome. All you got to do is go out and sell a couple of cans. I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. We all need our reparations. It is so good loving somebody when somebody loves you back. And this nation has been getting love from black Americans in that free labor from 1619 to 1865, but they did not love us back. It's good to get love as long as you're giving it back. It's called quid pro quo. But this country, it took all the love they could, the blood, sweat, and tears out of black Americans. The original people on the planet, according to Dr. Lee King Gregory Mendel. You can Google it. And it stole our money. And it's a shame, but we're going to fix that this year, if that makes sense to you. You know, speaking of fixing things, I love fixing things so much that I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy. I'm going to get into some things about the NBA draft last night. I'm also going to touch a little bit on baseball. But I've gotten so many, I guess you should say, great compliments on the spreading of reparations. Give that some praise, because there are some times when people thought, oh, that's not going to happen. And we have different ethnic groups all over the world that have been given reparations. Even you have some Ukrainian friends, they're getting checks from the United States government. Not even citizens. Nobody complain. Isn't that something? I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy on my beautiful mother's side. My great-grandmother called her mama a beautiful, loving, kind woman, always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. Really do appreciate her. And then one time my great-granddaddy said, my goodness, baby, you put your foot in these collard greens. And she said, well, thank you, baby. I'm glad you like them. He said, oh, my God, I want another plate. And I was saying to my brother, I said, hey, Todd, are those the collard greens that we saw Grandma stepping in the bucket last night? She really put her foot in the collard green, because if you smash them between your toes, it does something for the flavor. That's why you can't find that kind of flavor in the grocery store. You got to step on them with your toes. She put her foot in those collard greens. I'm addicted to collard greens. I'm glad it's not a crime, because I'd definitely be not doing the show. What are you in for, man? Stealing TVs. Okay, what are you in for, man? Robbing banks. What kind of bank did you rob? The Bank of Reparations. What are you in for? Eating too many collard greens. Everybody got a problem. We all got something. We need to have fixed. Oh, Lord have mercy. And then my beautiful great-grandfather called him Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player, known around his church buddies as making the best moonshine in the history of the universe. Very smart, salient, erudite man can fix anything with his hands, planes, trains, and automobiles. One time, Pop even delivered a baby. We heard a knock on the door. Who is it? And she said her name, so we went to the door. She said, hi, is Pop here? We said, just a moment. She said, Pop, there's a young lady at the door, and she's asking for you. He said, okay, just a moment, I'll be right there. So he goes to the door and says, how can I help you? She says, Mom, my mom's at home, and she's trying to have a baby, and the baby's not listening, and she said to come get Pop. And Papa said, it must be a boy. Don't worry, I'll be right there. And that's what he did. He fixed everything. He took his duct tape, his water bottle, and he always took olive oil when he had to deliver babies. I don't know what the olive oil was for. I thought it was maybe for oiling down his Bible. But you know, what the boys know. Oh, Lord have mercy. And then my beautiful grandmother called her a mud deer. Beautiful, loving, kind woman. She was a seer. Could oftentimes look at a person, tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. And she still watches over me to this day. Really do appreciate her. Love her with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful person, a seer. Could oftentimes look at a person, tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. Really do appreciate him. And then I can always depend on my mama. The most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and then also coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. How many women have started a Head Start program, a food program, and then coaching all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe in an all-men's league? They were always playing James Brown. This is a man's world. She said, hey, but it be nothing without a woman or a girl. Hey, always did that. I think my mom is the first woman to coach an all-boys Little League baseball team to a championship in an all-man's league in Denver Hills, California. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always saying rise and shine. In fact, at the church, everybody wanted Mrs. Curry's cooking. And at the restaurants, everybody wanted Mrs. Curry's cooking. And at home, everybody wanted mama's cooking. She say, son, how many plates have you had? I say, curry for 3. Because I was always trying to eat thirds. I got some big brothers, and sometimes they didn't wait for you to fall for the banana in the tailpipe, if that makes sense to you. I don't know if that makes sense at all. It must be the donut that I ate today, because I feel good. I feel good. I knew I should. And then on my beautiful, love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my beautiful father's side, my granddaddy called him Albert Curry. He was a pastor. He had 2 churches in Oakland. He built a 3rd church in Central California with his own hands. And then he owned 40 acres of land that I'm more proud of. And it's like, God gave me this Moet manifestation. I just had another epiphany. Here I am, stomping for 40 acres, like the Emancipation Proclamation, and my grandfather owned 40 acres of land, because land is worth money. And just like the Emancipation Proclamation, when Frederick Douglass, who was going to be president of Freedmen's Bank, he was working with President Abraham Lincoln to craft the Emancipation Proclamation, where every free black man was supposed to get 40 acres and a mule, because the Union was going to lose the Civil War until President Abraham Lincoln was begging black soldiers to fight to help save the Union. And to show its appreciation, their payment was 40 acres and a mule. At that time, an acre of land, it would have mattered to about $1.2 million, if that makes sense to you. But it was stolen. It was stolen from black Americans, given to the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. Now, who in the world would give money to the Ku Klux Klan? United States Congress? That's what they did in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Think about that when you hear the reparations talk. Because there's a lot of people who benefited from the land grab, and they haven't given it back. And rumor has it, if you steal something, you're supposed to return it. And if you have to use a court of law, so be it. So reparations will be executive order. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. If you're not complaining about having unclean hands and all that stolen land, and the interest, the compound interest, the 8th wonder of the world, you're not complaining about that. Give the money back now. You search Ancestry.com, see which one of your ancestors has blood on their hands. Blood money. That's true. So people are going to have all kind of different reactions when reparations are announced in California. But you heard it first on the Big C Sports Podcast, and you can't say you didn't. A lot of our other brethren, they're afraid to say anything, because Martha said, don't you dare talk about anything that's going to help your family and your legacy. Really do appreciate the things that I learned from my dad and my grandmother and my mom. And then my beautiful grandmother, Alberta Curry, working side by side with my grandfather with the 2 churches in Oakland and the 3rd church that they built in Central California. They also own 2 gas stations that she helped them run. There was Shell Station in Oakland, one on Bancroft, the other on Foothill. But I was 8 years old walking through a hallway. I was tiptoeing through the hallway. It was like 10 o'clock at night. And she touched me on my forehead. She said, "What are you doing? Going to get some more cookies?" I said, What are you doing up? I thought you went to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing? Going to get some more cookies?" I said, cookies are baby crap based on what I'm going to get. I'm going to get my reparations. I was trying to go get my reparations, and I said a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt either. But she understood, but she said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." And now Big C Sports Podcast is syndicated all over the world on 27 podcast applications all over the universe. Some people say they even heard it on Mars. And I really do appreciate that she sold into me. She didn't try to tear me down like a lot of people try to tear others down today. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot's chief mechanic, always making sure that airplanes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. In fact, my father, he's the first one to tell me about the SR-71, the Blackbird. It could fly from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. in 1 hour and 8 minutes. That's amazing. That technology still exists today, but those planes are in museums. What if that same technology was put on 747s, and now instead of 6-hour flights from East Coast to the West Coast, it could take 2 hours, or maybe even 3. The technologies exist. It's already there, right in the palm of our hands, just like a lot of things that we want are in the palm of our mouths. We're the director of our lives. We got to speak things into existence. And sometimes when bad things happen to us, we just got to keep pushing forward and keep giving God praise. But this reparations that's coming is going to create a seminal moment in the lives of African Americans. And I'm going to give that praise. Just like white people got a head start of about 400 years from 1619. All that free land and labor that has been bequeathed down to the current generation. Not one person said, "Let us get it back because I don't like getting a head start." Not one person has said, "Let's get it back." People can trace Ancestry.com, see where they came from, where they got that stolen goods. People know that. Really do appreciate my dad. In fact, in the Air Force, my father's roommate he played the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in one of my favorite movies, Malcolm X, that was written and produced by the great Spike Lee and acted by my favorite actor, the great Denzel Washington. And I love what Denzel said when he was in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn. And they said, "How are you, young man? Nice to meet you." And he said, "King Kong ain't got nothing on me." And I think he won an award for it. They call it his training day. They call it his training day. I mean, that's what rumor has it. But anyway, that's the way love goes at times. I really do appreciate my dad. Love him with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder and lightning. When Todd would speak, always saying go forward. A voracious reader. Always talking sports and politics. Todd, we had this great, obviously we love Malcolm X, the movie, and the person. And there was a movie called Pulp Fiction, but it had Samuel L. Jackson, John Travolta. It had Ben Rames and Bruce Willis. And before the big fight, Ben Rames told Bruce Willis, he said, "Your butt goes down in the 5th round." He said, "Say that, blip." He said, in the 5th round, you're going to pull a stinging sensation, flubbing with you. And he said, "That's just pride." And Ben Rames said the way only Ben Rames would say it. He said, "Look, pride." He said, "Pride only hurts. It never helps." And he said, I know when he told him, you said boxing's filled with a lot of unrealistic motherly buckers who think that butt gets better with time like fine wine, but it don't. If you mean in terms of vinegar, then it do. So take this money and go down to the bank and get your reparations. And he told him that. And Bruce Willis threw the fight. He didn't throw the fight. He kept his money. But anyway, that's one of our favorite movies, Todd, and I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. The setup of the very first interview for Big C Sports, my daughter did it. And for the first time in the history of the United States of America, NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They would normally go to ESPN, but I was told because of 2 black men in the crew, they were able to sell it. They were able to get them to advertise, to do a live broadcast on Wall Street Business Network. However they simulcast it in, they did it. That's because of 2 black men in the crew. And rumor has it, some good old boys said if 2 N-words can do it, they could bring in some insurrection. And they did. They created shenanigans. And the show went away. What a shame. They said, I'll not tolerate those N-words making us any money. And now they're having layoffs and I'm still expanding. I just love it. I'm really grateful to God for so many things. And Daisy would also help me set up in college coaches to come to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. One time she scored 6 goals in a soccer game. It was like Daisy with the kick. Daisy for the goal! The goal! The goal! Goal! 6 goals in one soccer game, left-footed, and she's a right-footed kicker, so she's ambidextrous. You can be anything you want. As I always pray, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Every tongue that rises up against you shall be condemned. Always trust God. But when this money shows up for the reparations, there will be a lot of people around you that will change. Mark my words. They will change. You got to stay prayed up. If that makes sense to you. Don't let anybody hustle you. I love you with everything I got. There's a lot of people that talk crap about your father, and your father's one of the only sports podcasters on the entire planet Earth that's been championing reparations before they even show up. You remember that. Because it's for you and our whole ancestry of Currys and all black people. But it's going to happen. Mark my words with it. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, every night a good man, as I always tell you, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. You can be anything you want to be. In fact, Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers, and they say trees are made out of newspapers, or newspapers are made out of trees. I tell you, it's the donuts. And I always go through the newspapers to study for stats for players and teams for the Big C Sports podcast. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. And I've been Googling ever since. Now, Big C Sports podcast is syndicated on 27 podcast applications all over the world. That's more than anybody else in the universe. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. And I trust God with my higher self to guide me. You can Google it. 27 platforms. One beautiful, intelligent black man. And don't do what Teddy Pendergrass says when he says, turn them off. Don't turn them off. Do what you say. Do what Teddy was trying to get that woman to do. He said, turn me on. And come to me. My goodwill, come to me. Malcolm, I'm telling you, one day Malcolm said, Dad, do you want to see Big C Sports on TV? And I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports, and you'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air, before it was even on television. Now it's on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV, and coming to another streaming device all over the universe. He's spoken into existence. That's why I say trust God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. Lean not onto your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. You can be anything, Malcolm. I'm so proud of you. Always make good choices. Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. But when those reparations come, and you become a multi-millionaire, you're going to get financial advice, and just get an annuity, live on the annuity. But there will be people that will turn against you too. Some of those same people talk crap about your dad right now. But I want you to understand, your father is the only podcaster on the planet Earth that talks about reparations in sports and telling people to praise God. And you can give that some praise. You come from great bloodline, son, and you can be anything you want to be. You deserve it. Just keep making good choices. I'm so proud of you. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, just like my great-granddaddy, and his church buddies coming out of that barn saying reparations now, reparations forever. Let's get ready to rumble. I love saying welcome to the show. It's been nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. People say that is painfully obvious. I have no teleprompter. No three-way teleprompter. No producer in my ear. I don't have somebody telling me turn left, turn right. But it's good when God tells you to turn left or turn right. I love what I do with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And I'm going to get that $6 billion. You can get that some praise. It's coming! What did that guy say? Fred Savage said, I'm coming, Elizabeth! I'm coming! I'm coming, Elizabeth! I'm coming! It's coming. I love Savage. Fred Savage was crazy. He was funny. But I understand what he said when he said, I'm coming, Elizabeth! And that's how I feel about the $6 billion. You get that praise. I want to also just remind people that the Associated Press wrote a story on only one podcaster in the history of the universe. One sports podcaster talking about reparations in sports. His name is Charlton Curry. Some people say he talks too loud. That's okay too. But she also asked me my opinion on reparations. I do a sports show. I talk reparations, which is also sport. Because there's a certain segment of our society that got reparations. Google the owners of sports teams. Where'd the money come from? The truth shall set you free. We deserve our reparations. It would be signed by executive order. She also mentioned President Biden in the article, Vice President Kamala Harris, and they gotta know, no reparations, no vote. Stomp all you want. No reparations, no vote. It's time. What did Jesus say at the supper of the 12th? What was it called? What did Jesus say at the Last Supper? He said, "Pay me." I thought it was Jesus Christ when he said, "Give me my money." Oh, Lord, it's the donuts. Oh, Lord, forgive me. And she also mentioned California Governor Gavin Newsom and California Senator Stephen Bradford, as well as California Reparations Chair Camila Moore. Have had conversations with all of them and really do appreciate their desire for reparations. Also, Google Survivors Today Act of 2017, and that's where the Justice for Uncompensated Survivors Today Act of 2017 is United States legislation that requires the State Department to report to Congress on steps that 47 countries, not in the United States, in Europe, have taken to compensate Holocaust survivors and their heirs for assets seized by Nazi Germany and post-war communist governments. You know who helped end Hitler's reign? You want to know who helped end it? Black Americans. You know who would deny it? The GI Bill? Those same Black Americans that helped end Hitler's reign. You got to be the most crooked person on the planet if you think that's okay. But there are crooked people. But they can repent too. That's because it's time for change. Give changes and praise. Even the United Nations Human Rights Chief calls for reparations in the United States for descendants of chattel slavery. You've stolen enough, and you never paid it back. I heard there was a bank in the Bay Area called Silicon Valley Bank, and they went over because of a lot of they hedged the bets on too many cryptos or whatever bad investments. And when they went over, would you believe the United States government bailed them out? No questions asked. When the Black Wall Street banks were burned down, did they get bailed out? No, they told those black clients that we can't find your money. They told them we can't find it. They said we have no record of your money. Now you gotta know that's wrong. Give doing right some praise. Give us some praise. I said when praises go up, blessings come down, and that's why we give that some praise. But I just appreciate so many things that are happening in the United States of America by good people of all colors. I'm going to say good, all colors. People of all faiths. You can't please the whole world, but there are a lot of good people behind what's happening. I love being able to broadcast information about the National Black Wall Street Project. Just had the summit down in Southern California, and it's about solutions now. It was at the famous First AME Church in Los Angeles, California. But the Reparations Task Force is having its 16th meeting And let's make history with the final report. You can join the in-person meeting. It's the last one. It's Thursday, June 29th, 2023 at 9 o'clock a.m. at the Mark Fong EU Secretary of State building. The address is 1500 11th Street, first floor auditorium in the state capital of Sacramento, California. And for people that need to understand, I don't believe in no reparations, then don't call in and don't show up. But go to the website, is oag.ca.gov/AB3121/meetings. And get involved and stay updated on the latest reparations advocacy. And it's just important. It's important. Everybody has their own thoughts. You can go to cjec-official.org and you can find out more information too. And part of the task force is Camila Moore, the chair, and Dr. Amos Brown, the vice chair, Senator Stephen Bradford, who's responsible for name, image, and likeness. When you hear about college students getting paid, and some of our white brethren coaches said, I'll not tolerate them paying these black boys to play college football. If they start paying the kids to play, I'm going to quit. Dabu Sweeney in prison was one of the main ones. Did Dabu Sweeney quit? I didn't get that memo. Did he quit? He said, if you start paying these players, I'm going to quit. You think it's $10 million a year? But he didn't want those black boys even getting $1. And some people are dumb enough to send their kids to his university. Stephen Bradford's the one, Senator Stephen Bradford's the one that crafted name, image, and likeness. Council member Monica Montgomery Steppe, Assembly member Reginald Jones Sawyer, Dr. Cheryl Gillis, Lisa Holder. We have a Berkeley professor, Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, and Donald K. Tamaki. They're part of the task force. But there's other things happening that are so powerful that I'm proud of. There's just so much. It's going to be streamed on Emin, the mass media group. They're the great Kim Mims. Because it's about what's more important. I watched how people were ogling over the athletes at the NBA draft last night. And there's nothing wrong with seeing those young men. I want to give them praise. A lot of guys work really hard and give everything they have to become an NBA player. And people were happy to see it. And talking about how blessed somebody is because they got rich. Well, I want to see that same kind of praise when black Americans, descendants of chattel slavery, get rich also. I want to see people praise that because it's the right thing to do. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And there's a lot of smart people behind the scenes that are doing the same thing for black Americans that our Holocaust brethren got. The Holocaust, Hitler was in power from 1933 to 1945. Black Americans helped end his reign. Slavery lasted in the United States 1619 to 1865. And we got nothing for it. Oh, you got freed? White people were already freed. So how do we benefit? They didn't have land. They didn't have checking accounts. They didn't own any property. They were told you're on your own. And then after that, they passed 100 years of Jim Crow through Reconstruction. The pig laws, the black codes, gerrymandering, redlining. A lot of garbage has happened to black Americans. It was so bad that we had to have a civil rights law passed by Lyndon Baines Johnson. So there's no one there are some dumb people too, and I don't believe reparations. Yeah, those dumb people, they shouldn't even be allowed into the meeting. But intelligent people, they understand there's something called Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. It proves that reparations are a must. You can Google powernomics.com. There's so many things that are important to the construction of this company. And I watched how our mainstream media, they were licking the backside of those beautiful black men that got drafted into the NBA last night. They were giving them praise. Over and over and over again. Ignoring the fact that a whole legacy of people have been robbed. Criminal industry complex. Isn't that something? They call it prison industrial complex. I mean, it's by design. People got to know that. That's why good people are involved on all sides. Billy Graham, he was a white man. He bailed Dr. King out of jail because Dr. King was trying to create liberty and justice for all. He went to jail for it. How do you send a man, a minister, a man of the cloth to prison for fighting for equality? And then you call yourself a just nation. And Dr. King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but he said it bends towards justice. And the only group that hasn't got reparations yet is just us. We gotta fix it. Good people gotta fix it. You know, the Christians gotta fix it. Because Dr. Anderson's book, more important than the NBA draft last night, is a classic. It tracks slavery and the Jim Crow public policies that used black labor to construct a super powerful nation called the United States of America. It details how black Americans were socially engineered into the lowest level of a real-life monopoly game in which you're neither playing or winning. And that's why you have the redlining and the blockbusting, the real estate turn, and all the other garbage that's gone on against people of color. And it's just time, it's time now that we can all overcome. Even the Juneteenth holiday, it was a big present. How many people, you couldn't wait for Christmas so you could learn more about Jesus? And now they turned it into a day of shopping. The biggest retail day in the universe is built on behind Christmas, not behind Jesus Christ. Not behind Confessions Romans 10 and 9. Behind Christmas. But how many people would go downstairs to the Christmas or the Christmas tree, get your package, beautifully boxed, nice bow on it, even has your name on it. And then you open that gift, and on the inside, there's just blank paper. No toy, no gift. That's how black Americans felt after Lincoln said, help us win the Civil War, and you'll be free, you earned your freedom. There were actually 5 Emancipation Proclamations. He signed one. But he said, you earn your freedom by helping us win the war, beating the Confederates. You know, the Klan. The devil's children. But after the devil's children were defeated in the Civil War, you know who gave the devil's children the land and the money? President Andrew Johnson. That's why President should honor President Abraham Lincoln. He wasn't a perfect man. Nobody is. He who is without sin. What did Jesus say to the people that wanted to stone the woman? He said, he who is without sin, cast the first stone. Nobody threw a stone. But you would have to be the most evil person. You would have to be the devil's favorite person, the devil's favorite lover, to think that we don't need reparations. After you learn about what's happened to people of color in this country and help build this country for free, and you're going to argue what Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said? I don't believe we need to be paying reparations for something that happened that we stole over 150 years ago. And his great-granddaddies on both sides, not only were they racist, they owned slaves. At least 14, and 12 of the 14 that we know of were women. What do you think they were doing with those beautiful Nubian women? What do you think they were doing? They were leaving their wives. I guarantee you that. That's why they had all the miscegenation. They were leaving their wives to go get some brown sugar. They wanted to go back to where the Eve gene. They couldn't walk away from it. But they stole that money. And they got to give it back. Give them some praise for giving it back. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Yeah, my show is different because, I want to say thoughts and prayers to the members that were in this submarine device looking for the Titanic. And tragically, they lost their lives. And I would have thought with today's technology, why not just use a drone and a camera? To go down, 10,000, 13,000 feet? I think they were found within the capsule was found, I think, within a quarter mile of the Titanic. Why not use a drone? It didn't have to be man-made. I mean, it didn't have to have human beings on the inside of it. But thoughts and prayers to those families for losing their lives. And the same thoughts and prayers to descendants of chattel slavery for having people murdered, lynched, raped, sold off, beaten, battered, lynched for just learning to read. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. But you know what those families that lost their lives in the deep dive exploration to get the Titanic, you know what those families are going to get? They're going to get insurance money for the lives lost. Because I'm sure they all had insurance. Not just to mention the assets they may have had built up in the bank, but they're going to get a life insurance policy. It's going to pay out to the beneficiaries. You know who was not allowed to get a life insurance policy in the United States? Slaves. Slaves could not get a life insurance policy. So when they were murdered, or when they died, they got nothing. Oh, they told them, lift up your voice and sing. Don't worry, you'll be better in heaven than you are here on earth. So all my heart goes out to those discoverers that were trying to find out more information on the Titanic. It's horrible what happened to them. And imagine from 1619 to 1865 that happened to a whole race of people losing their lives over nothing. And when they're murdered or killed off, the families can't even get money for it to help put them away or make life better for the next generation because the United States government did not allow it. How dare you say no reparations? Reparations will pass. I want to just touch base slightly before I get off the show today. And I love intelligent people. I've heard that Big C Sports Podcast has the most intelligent audience in the history of the universe. Google everything I say. I know I don't shuck and jive about, oh man, this guy's so big, strong, and fast. Woo! Did you see how high he can jump? I've never seen a guy jump so high. I know a lot of guys, they're trained to do that. And I feel for those guys. But they got to eat too. The 2023 NBA draft, there's a lot of players that are happy now. No suspense in the number 1 overall pick. Victor Wembanyama was the expected favorite and was indeed the pick for the San Antonio Spurs. And intrigue and drama quickly ensured Thursday, and where it turned out to be another wild NBA draft night. Chris Paul going to be a Golden State Warrior in Dim Deer Hills. Charlotte Hornets, they got Brandon Miller, and I'm telling you, flip-flopping, Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson. There's a lot of things that happened in the world of sports last night. A lot. And then Poole's now out of San Francisco. Chris Paul, I think Chris Paul will be an asset if he can stay healthy. But they are losing that Jordan Poole, Steph Curry like shooting three, but he didn't play as well last year once he signed his big contract. But the Warriors will figure out what to do. They always will. They've been the staple of the NBA over the last decade. 6 championship games in the last 9 years. They're 4-2 in those championship games. And the series that they lost, one went to 7 games when they lost to Cleveland. The other went to 6 games when they lost to Toronto. That's impressive. But I'm proud of these young men that are becoming millionaires And I know there's going to be a lot of men that say Black Lives Matter on the edge of basketball courts. Are they going to have Black Lives Matter on their T-shirts? Some people are going to put Black Lives Matter on their shoes. But if we, as black men and women, we celebrate our Jewish brethren, that they got reparations for the crimes of the Holocaust, that black men helped eradicate Adolf Hitler from the planet, and got nothing to show for it. Not even the GI Bill. The Marshall Plan rebuilt Germany. Black Americans got nothing. Japanese brethren got reparations when they were interned in the United States in internment camps. Black Americans got nothing. We got told to lift every voice and sing. So as much as I love the spirit of Juneteenth holiday, made a federal holiday by the Biden administration, it should have been the money. Because you got a gift, but it's empty on the inside. So people are dancing in the street. But it was empty gift to make you feel good. Now, how do we treat our Holocaust brethren? Did we give them a box and sing a song? Let's all sing a song that the Holocaust is over? And just sing a song and have parades? No. Between France, Germany, and the United States, Holocaust victims have gotten over $86 billion. And that's money at that time. Still getting payments and pensions today. And we give that praise. We deserve the same praise. We deserve the money. Money talks. That's why our Jewish brethren got the Holocaust, the pensions, and the money. Black Americans deserve that too. All life came from Africa. According to Dr. Leakey and Recommendo, the dark gene is dominant. The light gene is recessive. The dark gene can reproduce the recessive gene, but the recessive gene cannot reproduce the dominant gene. That's Mendel. Dr. Leakey, he was looking for the origin of man. He went to Europe, but he didn't stay long. He traced the origin of man back to Africa, to the womb of a black woman called the Eve gene. Give that some praise and Google it. How dare you not pay reparations in the United States, the land of the free and the home of the brave. It's so important. I know you want to know who won the game. We got NBA, WNBA, Major League Baseball, NFL football, boxing, MMA, cycling, horse racing, auto racing. Get all kinds of sports. Archery, tennis, golf. Got a lot of sports out there. A lot, and sports brings people together, and people cheer. I would love reparations to finally bring this country together and say, yeah, we know our ancestry stole from you. We know that it built up tremendous gaps in wealth between black and white societies. Not every white person benefited from the wealth. And not every black person struggled from the wealth that was stolen. But we all know right is right. And there will be compensatory payments. There'll be money, other benefits from housing to business, debt forgiveness for college loans. A lot of things in the works that are going to help make our society better. You can give that some praise. If you can cheer for a college basketball player getting drafted into the NBA, what are you going to do now when a whole group of people finally get their reparations? Give that some praise. And Big C Sports is the only sports show on the entire planet that talks about reparations, sports, and religion, giving God praise. You can give that some praise because it's real. Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I'm asking for good people, not the crooked people. I'm not asking for the devil's children, or the ones who act like the devil, trying to tear people down at every turn, as if God doesn't hear it. And then they take this sorry bus to church. I'm asking for good people. People who really have a love of God. To do the right thing. If you were to go home tonight and your house was empty because someone stole everything, you would call 911. You wouldn't just say, well, that happened a long time ago. You would call 911 and make a police report. Well, black Americans at this Reparations Task Force is making our police report. You can give that some praise. And the checks will not be televised, so pay attention. That's my story. and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber. You can call Lyft. You can sleep it off. You can walk it off. But whatever you do, don't get behind the wheel of a car drunk. The life you save may be your own. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali can say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, and I'm trying to get my reparations so I don't have to keep standing on my feet. And I sit like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I made that addition to myself. As my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. That no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know anybody going through that crap, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up. Well, that's my story and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I tell you, on every Big C Sports Show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super, fantastic day. Reparations now, reparations forever. In honor of the great President Abraham Lincoln. Reparations now, reparations forever. In honor of the great President Abraham Lincoln. Reparations now, reparations forever. Thank you, and have a super, fantastic day.